All right, let's get things going here. Welcome to the Fly the W studio. It's Chris Drubb, the Giving Day guy here in downtown Greenville, South Carolina. It is March 7th, 2022. And we are live through Switcher Studio version 7.0 for the first time. Switcher Studio has been the platform that I use to broadcast most of my live streams. Not all, but most. Fade the music out. That's going to be my request for Switcher 8.0. Be able to fade audio live like that. So Switcher Studio is a third-party platform that I use to live stream to Facebook, to YouTube, and to other platforms. The big news in the Switcher Studio world last week was last week or the week before? Recently, Switcher Studio unveiled version 7.0, which allows creators to multi-stream. What do I mean by that? So you're probably watching this on Facebook, but you might be watching this on YouTube. And in fact, we are streaming to both of those platforms right now at the same time, live, or at least I think we are, because I don't see that I am live on Facebook right now. So that's what I'm checking right now. Kind of hard when you're operating solo. It looks like we are live on Facebook. Perfect. So the big change, the most important change for me, testing Facebook comments. I hate to look down while I'm streaming. I'm typing on my phone here. So the big change that you can see here is that as the producer of the stream, I am able to put comments on the screen from both YouTube and from Facebook. And there's nobody watching right now because I just scribbled this up and created a sort of on the spot Monday afternoon. Certainly not a great time to be live streaming and anticipating an audience, especially with no notice and especially with no real topic to talk about. But if you were watching live, I could put your comments from Facebook and from YouTube on the screen simultaneously. Well, I could put comments from both of those places on the screen through one interface here, which is just awesome. It's something that I've been among a crowd of people bugging the Switcher Studio team for this feature for years, and it appears to be working smoothly. I feel sometimes when I do these test broadcasts, easy for me to say, I kind of ramble on a little bit, but the truth is, with all the work that I do with giving days around the country, I have to make sure that I'm at least kicking the tires and making sure that things are working before I actually get to the giving day. I can't show up and use those events as a testing ground. I mean, in some ways I do. Of course, we're always experimenting and trying new things, new features. But in terms of whether or not the video actually works and the critical features to make these live events happen, they need to be tested out in advance. That includes a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? It includes a little endurance to the streams as well, right? So I want to make sure that as we're live, that this stream will stay connected for several minutes. So even if nobody's watching live, we'll just kind of hang out for a little while. And I can show you, as I often do, some of the different features of Switcher Studio. It's really nice to be able to play pre-recorded videos. This is a huge part of what we do with the giving days. So you can see here, this is from the Zoom training that I did last year with Give Local 757. And here is that day in action. You see some of the same faces on the screen there from one shot to the next, which is pretty cool. And Every given day that I work looks different. You can see how these setups all come across a little bit differently. This was in Cheyenne, Wyoming last July for YO Gives. And now I can't get this one off the screen. There we go. So I have this nice little bank of pre-recorded videos that I can play. Sort of give you a sense of some of the different events and setups that we've had. Most of these are from last year. And then, of course, I'm coming to you live today from the Fly the W studio here in downtown Greenville, South Carolina. And so I can use Switcher Studio to put things like this on the screen live from the Fly the W studio. I can play my little, well, I can't play that or that. I can put my, no, I can't use that either. That is, okay, what did I just do there? This is why we practice. Okay. Come on back. I can also put different setups on the screen. So if we had multiple folks joining in, you can see I've got the fancy camera here and the iPad camera here to my left, and I could set up a bunch more cameras, which I will during these events. We can put name tags on the screen. I don't even know what these say. Yeah, Scott and Harvey. Play sound effects. That's my favorite one. That, of course, is from Give for Good Louisville with our wonderful sponsors at Churchill Downs. I'll probably get in trouble for playing that elsewhere, of course, but classic sound effects. I also this year bought a soundboard, which I do not have set up right now. I have it in a little suitcase there in front of me, but I'll be able to much better facilitate sound in a live environment with live guests. We've got some lengthy wired microphones and headphones. I'm going to be experimenting with some wireless options as well. Some of this stuff gets a little pricey, but we'll be able to set up a pretty sophisticated live stage that I can take on the road no matter where we go, anywhere around the country. Kind of fun. So we're just kind of stretching the limits of Switcher a little bit to see what's working and what isn't working. Like this video, for example, is not working. This video also not working. So that's kind of why I need to go through and see which of these elements are still functional. It's kind of like looking through your garage and finding a bunch of tools that you haven't used since last fall. You know, it's been snowing all winter, and now you got to pull out like the weed whacker and the lawnmower and all these things. And just sometimes when you open up the garage door, some of these things work and some of them don't. And that's okay. You know, we have a lot of really fun elements that we can include in live streams, but I need to go through. So this will take me a day or two really to kind of go through and straighten out, organize. I wish I could show you kind of the live interface here of what I'm looking at, but well, I guess I can because it's not plugged into anything. It looks kind of like this. How's that? How's that for meta? Matt, Dan, anybody watching from Switcher? There's my Switcher setup. I'll put it on this side because I have a little more room over here. And I can control everything that you see on this broadcast from this setup. So if I press A, B, and I go like this, yep. Pull up that little inset camera, send it off. Like you saw before, I can press these buttons to play a little pre-recorded video. It's a clip from being interviewed by Mario Armstrong a couple years ago. Take that off the screen and we're right back. So there's really a lot that you can do with Switcher. I love that Switcher 7.0 allows me to multi-stream like this, even if this is a rather boring stream. We're just over 12 minutes in. I kind of wanted to just see how it created broadcasts on Facebook and YouTube. That'll be a question that I have for the Switcher team after this, for example, is, why didn't this create a scheduled event on my YouTube channel? I did get an email notification that I am live, so that's good. So there's just a lot to it. And it's maybe it comes off a little more complicated and tricky because I'm both producing and hosting. Certainly, if you're working with a host, it's a lot easier to do one or the other. And when I stream solo like this, without a real plan of things to talk about, it can come across as a little disjointed, but again, we're just trying to make sure everything's plugged in right, that the audio is going and everything. So things look good. They sound good. The biggest thing that I wanted to test was this, and it appears to be working, even though there's nobody watching. That's the other thing. I wonder weight of things, because ordinarily, I'm not here saying like, oh, I'm being shadow banned, raw. But usually when you're live for 15 minutes like this, someone will stumble across it and tune in. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Cool. Thanks for tuning in. If you watch this replay, sorry I didn't really have much to share with you. Ed says high-pitched noise. So Ed has a very sharp ear. Ed, is it this? Did that make the noise go away? It's nice to know that someone at least is watching. This ring light, I have two ring lights. The big one here that's right next to me tends to give off a high-pitched noise only when speaking. So it's still there. The other issue is I didn't mute the, I don't have the audio. Yeah, sounds like electrical interference from the light. Yep, I've known about that. This light is, it's a matter of, it's a matter of what's worse, right? Like, I think I look better with the light on. I think I look better with the light on, but it does give off that noise. See what I mean? Sound goes away when you turn the light off when the light is on. It is even louder when you speak, but still constant when you're not speaking. Yeah. So the light is this guy here. It's one of these. This is great theater right here. Use LEDs. Yeah. Look, I mean, this light, the lights don't travel with me when I go. So a couple things. One, the lights don't travel with me when I go produce these events on the road, right? So we're here in my home studio. I'm not doing as much live streaming this year as I did the last couple years. Looks like a toilet seat. It's a black, round light. A little bigger than your average toilet seat, maybe. But look, these lights don't travel with me when I go on the road. They're just too big. You can't bring them on an airplane. When you move it further away, you can still hear it. I'll try moving it further away for you, Ed. And you tell me what's still coming across. I'm going to turn the light back on. We'll move it further away. See what you think. 18 inches. Yeah, I think it's an 18-inch light. I think it's an 18-inch light. So now that light is further away. There. Ed is pleased. Yes, I've known about the problem with that light for a while. And generally, I just kind of push through it a little bit. Good deal. Cool. So Ed, like I mentioned before, Ed is watching live on Facebook. What I really love, I moved it more than 6 inches away. I moved it probably another 18 inches back. It's pretty far away now. Is it adjustable? Yeah, but it still makes the noise. Let me grab the soundboard so I can show you. No, I did not move it 6 feet away, but I moved it more than 6 inches away. I'm going to grab the soundboard and show you. So here's what we got going on with the soundboard. So I have my yellow Pelican Air case that has tripods. It's got wires, like charging cables, and it's got some other stuff in there. But mostly those two things. And then you've got this guy, the Rodecaster Pro. You didn't see that, Ed. Did I break it? No. There you go. There's the Rodecaster Pro. Note to self, don't drop it. So I'm not using it here at home because I don't really have much of a need for it. What's up, James? You know there's people watching. I'm not using the Rodecaster Pro here at home. But this is how it's going to travel with me. And it's going to be packed into my suitcase. It's going to be packed into my suitcase amongst a bunch of sweatshirts and stuff. And it's going to have to be checked because I have to carry on the Pelican Air. And I hate to have to check the RCP, but Marissa, I don't know if you just saw me drop my soundboard. That was fun. Can adjust the noise gate on the RCP too. Jimmy's got the map. There you go. Yes, this particular map it has familial importance. It was a gift from my mom. Jewel says, nice hat. Thank you. Got all my Giving Day hats. I really like, this is kind of my lucky hat. I really like this one of all of them. I can't believe I just dropped that suitcase like that. The light still looks good.
I'm all right. Thanks so much for asking.
Just want to travel and produce with you someday. Look, if the money's there, I'm down. I've been thinking a lot about kind of which end of what I do I like better? Producing or hosting? I really like producing. I really like playing around with Switcher Studio. I really like being behind the controls, and I don't mind having a microphone. I don't know if there's a phrase for that kind of in the industry. Ed might know this a lot better than I do. Like, is there like an official term for like a production microphone? Maybe that's it, just a production mic. Like, I don't mind being able to chime in and converse with the host and be sort of that secondary voice, like like Baba Booey to Howard Stern. Is that a good example? So you say, why not do both? If you watch this video at all, you can easily see how it sort of pries your brain apart like pulled pork to try and balance producing and hosting. And the work that I do drives a broad multitude of conversations with a lot of different people. And I feel sometimes when I'm producing that I can't fully give the proper attention to the people that I'm speaking to while trying to keep track of everything that's happening on the technical side. A voiceover producer? Yeah, sure. A voiceover producer. But it's way easier. The videos come out way better when I have a host that I can work with. The problem is brains blown. I do it every week. So the additional degrees of difficulty for me are, one, I do most of my work on the road. So I'm in an environment where I don't have full control over the set, the Wi-Fi, the external sounds that are coming in, all that stuff you got to manage like it's a brand new situation every time you go. Plus you're not sleeping in your own bed, you're eating something on the road, all those, you're not going to your regular gym in the morning. So all those factors really add up when you're trying to psychologically manage the specific streams that I'm producing. And then part two is, what's part two? Well, that's part one. And then part two is, like I mentioned, the fact that I'm not just interviewing like a guest. Like the average giving day that I work, we're interviewing like 40 guests in a day. So there's really, I'm not messing around when I say stuff like I'm doing the work. And I think you are too, Ed. But when I tell you that I think I'm doing the work of a team of like 5 people, it's true, especially when I'm hosting. I mean, slight video jitter might be on my end. So the one thing that I would say, Ed, is you cannot get better Wi-Fi than what I have here in my apartment in downtown Greenville. I have like the Google super powered fiber, like my up down speeds are phenomenal. I've lived here for almost 4 years and have never had my internet drop ever. So if there's a jitter, I've said this to the Switcher Studio team too. If there's something wiggly about my video, it ain't me. It ain't me. I live here by myself. It's not like I got the kids playing Pokemon Go on their iPads over in the corner, or like my wife is not in the next room, watching Oprah or whatever. Like there's nothing else. Even my TV is off now. Like my smart TV is off where the Apple TV is connected. So I've got my phone, the laptop. I'm not even using additional cameras. So if there's video degradation going on, that's a Switcher Studio problem. That's not a Chris Strub problem. Like, there's nothing that I'm doing that is affecting the video quality. There's nothing else. There's no other way for me to optimize. I've got a great laptop here, but the stream's not going through the laptop. The stream is going through an iPad Pro, which is tried and tested. It's got space. We've got great Wi-Fi. Great Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's right, Switcher. It's not me, it's you, Amen, man. Look, like, sometimes I feel like, anyone else just hear that? The audio pause, voice elongation. I didn't. I mean, Marissa, sometimes I feel like kind of a diva when I'm producing these events, that I really want to have as much of the production in place as possible before we get to the day. Like, it has to be done in advance. And the reason it has to be done in advance is because I'm a one-man band. Like, the issues that tend to come up with these events are not on their own unfixable in any way. It's just the additional stress of fixing things that could have been fixed 2 weeks earlier and waiting until, with some of the events that I worked last year, I was being given assets like 1 minute before the stream started. And I'm like, well, how do you expect how? Because there's just so many other things going on that you're limited by anyone else. It's just me and you, Ed. That's right. I should rename this the Marissa and Ed show, even though it's a show for you guys. Don't you love getting assets right before we go live? Not really. No. I mean, when I'm producing an event, I'm conducting an orchestra. It's not difficult to produce an event. Bear with me here, Marissa. It's not difficult to produce an event. What's difficult is producing a great event. I do freaking phenomenal work. I am great at this. I am great at it. But you can't be great if you're constantly juggling the last second things and people are throwing things at you from every direction, and you're constantly putting out fires left and right and up and down. If we're going to create something that's great for people to actually watch and enjoy and share, which is the goal that we want to actually capture and keep people's attention for an extended period of time, then you have to have these elements in place before things happen. And that's the sort of thing, it happens at every giving day. You get these questions that are like, can you do this? Can you just throw in this? Can you do this? Can you do this? And it's like, I guess, but we're like, let's make it part of the plan. Like, let's evaluate, let's think about what we can do better. Let's think about how we can get these things in place, because just do this, just do that. Like, it's hard, Watch it on playback to see in the final. See if it's in the final composition. Cool. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. Yeah, better to have it than and not need it. You're right. I'm just saying, like, I like to have things be part of the plan. And yes, real-time updates are definitely part of the plan. That's the whole idea. I'm talking more about things that affect the physical composition of the streams itself and of the sort of content that we're creating in real time. I love when things go wrong. Like, I shouldn't be that, shouldn't say that openly. I love when there are unexpected things that happen in a live stream, would be a better way to put it. I don't know that I have this clip. I wish I did. Do I? Wait, do that again. Do that again.
Okay.
You gotta love Switcher Studio. Oh, that's just the best.
Okay, Jody.
Yeah, Robert, I didn't mean to put unexpected challenges up there. Oh God, where'd they go? Now all the comments are gone. Okay, now they're back. Ooh. I had another outtake that I need to make sure is in my assets list here. Unfortunately, I don't have it. Yeah, I mean, my point is sometimes it's those moments, it's those unexpected moments that are that end up being the highlights of the entire day or of the entire show, no matter what you're producing. Ed, Marissa, like I'm sure you guys feel the same way. It's sometimes what you don't expect, but you can still be prepared for the unexpected, if that makes sense. And there's a difference between fun things happening unexpectely, like, oh, like the mayor showed up, like, come on, like you're not part of the plan, but we need to get you on. Like that's a good unexpected thing. A bad unexpected thing that may or may not have actually happened to us at the Big Give 2020, is someone unplugging a Google Puck. And so your Wi-Fi drops to like upload speed of 1, and you're like, for context, upload speed of 7 to 8 is about the bare minimum of where you want to be. 1 ain't gonna cut it. So we're doing speed test after speed test. Like, what just happened? Like, why our speed dropped to 1? We get up and someone had unplugged a Google Puck from our mesh network. Like, that's a bad unexpected thing. And that, like, it's funny in person, but it makes you look stupid to your audience. That's a difference. Haha, the best. So Jules is asking specifically, so Jules is in San Antonio, of course. And her profile picture is of the star of the show. That's Peanut there. I'll read the entire comment here, and I'm going to wrap up here in a minute. I thought I might do about a half hour or a couple minutes over that. Personally, I thought having the quote studio set up and having people come in for quote interviews went well, but the years before were quote man on the street style. Would love to know which had more reach and viewers. Oh, it's Buddy. Sorry, Jules. Put your comment back up on the screen here. So studio setup versus man on the street style. So the first thing I'll say is that, of course, the studio setup was precipitated by COVID, right? The Big Give 2020 was supposed to have taken place on March 26th of 2020. I had my hotel scheduled. I had my flights booked. we had all this fun stuff planned in San Antonio for the Big Give 2020. And then, of course, we ended up postponing the Big Give 2020 to September. And now that event has been permanently moved to September. To answer your specific question about which setup ended up having more reach and viewers, I think it's pretty close. There wasn't one that was definitively better than the other. I will tell you that our reach and viewership was a little bit better for the Big Give specifically in 2020 than it was in 2021, because in my opinion, we had fewer live guests in 2021. And for me, the Giving Day Guy approach has always been the fundamentals of the Giving Day Guy concept is to make it all about the nonprofits that are participating in a giving day. And we took a different approach in September and focused a lot more on the match minutes. And that drove quite a bit of viewership in the morning, but it got repetitive by the end of the day. And so the viewership was down a bit in 2021 over 2020 for the Big Give specifically. For all the other giving days I worked, viewership was up. And it was a testament to the loyal audiences that these nonprofits like yours have established over the years. So great question. And, we'll see. We'll see how things come across. I'm not gonna dive into all that stuff now. Hopefully we'll have some new giving days to work with this year. We'll have some different approaches. Hopefully we'll be able to get back to not doing everything 100% virtually. This is another important point here that Jules brings up. We'll be curious to see how viewership is impacted with the Giving Day going 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. versus an all day. This was an idea that I pushed for, Jules. When you talk to Scott, you can mention that. We knew. I mean, first of all, everything with the Big Give is up to Scott. So these decisions that are made about the Big Give, I have a little bit of input. Just like GiveGab has some input, just like the nonprofits have input, but ultimately decisions come down to Scott McIninch, and that's how it should be. He's the boss. I made the case to Scott that the Big Give should try 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. I wasn't the first one to bring this idea to him, but I certainly put it back in his mind. The logic is going to be that we should be able to get a lot more traditional media coverage with that start and finish line taking place at 6 p.m. 6 o'clock news is still an institution across the country. It's going to be a lot easier for nonprofits to take a deep breath and realize that the giving day is over at 6 p.m. on that second day. I think with 2 nights, we'll have the opportunity for, I don't want to say twice the number of events, but really I think a lot of the events that have taken place, you'll have a fundamental choice. Do you want it to be when the giving day is starting, or do you want to sort of relax a bit after the giving day is over, into the evening on that second day? So there's a lot to think about there. I don't want to make this sort of a giving day stream. I really just kind of wanted to test some of the features of Switcher and my setup here to make sure everything was working, and it sounds like it is. So, Jules, I will add, if you want to jump on Twitter tomorrow, I should have had a card ready to go here, but I will be having an open conversation with Scott tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on Twitter Spaces. So if you follow me on Twitter at Chris Strub on Twitter, we'll have a Twitter Space, which is an open audio conversation that people can join in and ask their questions. And we can talk about those topics some more if you want to. Jules will also, of course, be talking about sponsorship opportunities for these giving days. So if you have questions about getting your brand involved with the giving day, whether it's the Big Give or another day, like Give Local York, we can touch on those questions as well. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I've watched you from the beginning and your streams get better and better. You are too sweet to me, Jules. Thank you. You know, I really cannot say thank you enough to Scott McInich and the team in San Antonio for believing in me, for trusting in me, for allowing me to grow over the years with them. I think as the Big Give has grown, I think my skill set has gotten better. Certainly my technology has gotten better. The cameras have gotten better. The microphone's gotten better. But ultimately, what really matters is the impact that we can make on the nonprofits. And it's been really cool and special to see how the nonprofits are growing year over year as well. And I really look forward to being back in San Antonio for the Big Give again this September. So I've said it a million times before, but thank you again to Scott, and Jerry, and Mercedes for believing and trusting in me. Love, love, love the Big Give. It is a holiday on my calendar. It's like Christmas, birthday, Give for Good Louisville, and the Big Give. And luckily those two giving days are ordinarily back to back in September. So Jules, just keep in mind, just remember that it's always about how you can help and serve your audience. You've done a wonderful job over the years, and I am thankful for you. And I'm thankful for everybody else that has watched this on replay. Again, it's Chris Chubb, the Giving Day Guy, signing off here. I even got a little pepper. No, I don't have pepper. Oh, that's a disappointment. I thought I had a pepper video. I'm going to have to go in and fix all that. So we'll talk soon. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.